Okay, 23.2 done. Um, my goal when I set it was to finish the round of 25, accomplish that goal, and I wanted to thruster 225 or more, accomplish that goal. So I on the actual workout, there's a couple major things that I picked up along the way. Anybody that knows me knows how I suffer from some low back pain. So the burpees to the jump and the turnaround and hunching over on the runs towards the end of that workout really started to fatigue my back. So I figured that as I jumped to make a little turn, I would kind of use my hand not touching the ground to support my back on my legs. So that helped me out a lot. Um, I learned that when I was doing the jumping pull-ups, or like the burpee to jumping pull-up or whatever, when I would jump, at first I was just doing a straight arm pull, and I started to feel my biceps fatigue. So I started jumping a little harder and catching with bent elbows and pulling over, because the standard says it doesn't require like a dead hang to complete the pull-up. So those were the two things. What I realized though is, real quickly, it's a push-pull with the burpee pull-up, but there's also a jump, which is everything that a squat clean to a thruster is a jump, push. It's a pull with a jump into a push. So it's perfectly taxing. Be ready for a grind. You can always go a little faster. I kept telling myself that the whole time, like, you can go a little faster. Don't let your brain talk you out of it. It's long enough to where, and it's not enough to where your brain will really slow you down when physically you can do a little bit more. So good luck. I'll go to my regular tips and warm up and stuff once I catch my breath. What's up, guys? 23.2 A and B are all here. It's a good workout. It's definitely tough. It's a little monotonous, but it's one of those workouts where it's going to be as tough as you make it, right? You really want to push the pace. You really want to make it hurt. It'll hurt. If you don't want to make it hurt, it really won't hurt that bad. It's just one of those things. The workout is pretty inclusive. I think there's going to be a lot of people that can do it, and that's because of the pull-up standard, which I think is great. I love when the workout involves, or everybody can do the workout without too much scaling. There is a scaling option, of course, for those that are unable to do the pull-up standard. But overall, I thought it was a good workout. I got very sweaty, forgot to bring a shirt, so I'm in this sweaty shirt, so please excuse me. But the workout is a 15-minute AMRAP, essentially. You're trying to work through kind of an ascending ladder of burpee pull-ups with 10 shuttle runs in between. So it starts with 5 burpee pull-up, 10 shuttle run, 10 burpee pull-up, 10 shuttle run, 15 burpee pull-up, 10 shuttle run, and so on until you run out of time. The scaled version of it, instead of doing the pull-up, you do burpees to the target. There's a measuring standard that you have to do, so make sure you follow that. And it's just about figuring what works for you as far as pace goes. So for me, I took the approach as I'm going to go slow and steady through these first couple rounds, and then I'm going to try to pick it up. Did not go as planned. I got to about the round of 20, and I realized how bad it was. And you really have to stay out of your head. I think the thing that's going to really push people or make the difference in people isn't necessarily going to be fitness level, because of this being so inclusive. It's much different than last week, where you may not have been as fit as your peers, but beat them because you are better at muscle ups or whatever the case. This week, it's not about skill, it's about fitness and who can kind of get out of their own head and really push it. So stay positive, find a positive self talk that you can do, and stay positive through the whole thing, because that's really what's going to make the difference in this workout. Okay, some things you may need for this workout: tape your thumbs, right? Do it from the beginning. You need it for the hook grip on the clean to get the thruster started, but it also help protect your thumbs on all the pull-ups. You need wrist wraps. If you're like me and you have some weak wrists, wear the wrist wraps. Wear them the whole time during all the burpees and pull-ups. Just leave them loose. You don't want to be fiddling with all those things after you finish the workout when you're trying to get your clean. I needed the wrist wraps for the thrusters. Grips. In the show video, the broadcasting video, neither one of the people wore grips. The high level guys, the class level people, they wore grips. I wore grips the whole time. I made sure they went over my fingers. It just protected my hands. I didn't want to go to the bar with anything wrong with my hands. I wanted to have a clear mind when I grabbed it, so I just wore grips. Didn't affect me at all. Belt. I need a belt. Again, I have some low back issues. Wearing the belt made me feel confident. I just put it on right before I did my first lift. Knee sleeves. If you have also an issue with me, I've had a couple knee surgeries, right?
I feel more confident and comfortable when I have knee sleeves on when I'm doing any type of squatting, but I definitely don't want to wear those during the workout. It's gonna just make your legs kind of blow up. So I lift them on my calves. So make sure that you have those knee sleeves if you need them, but wear them on your calves. Don't put them on after the workout, before the lift. Lifting shoes. If you have lifting shoes, you wear lifting shoes whenever you do your lifts. You definitely want to wear them. It gives you a huge advantage in that thruster and that you can keep your chest a little more vertical. So have them. Don't wear them during the workout. I wore my lifting shoes in the first week. I did not wear them this week. The time that it takes to put on, you're going to want that rest time anyways. Just make sure your bar is already loaded with something that you know you want to hit. And then chalk. Make sure you have plenty of chalk just in case you need it. You shouldn't chalk up during the workout. That's just wasting time, but chalking in between lifts is good. Okay, we're going to talk about some mobility and warm up before we get into some strategy. The warm up at the beginning, kind of everything to start out, is exactly like last week, right? A lot of the same movers, so we can kind of follow the same kind of start out, which will work great for those that last week was their first week in the open. 10 to 15 minutes, get sweaty. I did some shuttle runs and I did some biking, but I practiced the shuttle run during that time, just kind of going nice and slow. I did do 10 to see how long it took me, so I kind of had an idea how long it would go for the workout. But 10 to 15 minutes, you want to get sweaty. Um, just before you really do any type of stretching. It's silly to start stretching before you get sweaty, especially if you're stretching for a purpose. In this case, we are. We're doing 2 minutes of the cow stretch, 2 minutes banded front rack, 2 minutes forward fold. All the same stretches as last week. Make sure you spend 2 minutes on each leg on those and 2 minutes on the forward fold. We want our hips and quads kind of stretched out. That's the couch stretch. We want that banded front rack position. So that way, when we're receiving that clean or doing the thruster, we're stretched out. And the forward fold really will stretch out the hamstrings and make sure our low back and everything is ready to go. Okay, after we finish our mobility, we're going into our kind of warm-up circuits. Put 2 to 3 sets on each one of these. It really depends on your time frame or how much work you actually need. So the first set, we're just working burpees and thrusters. So we're gonna do 3 burpees, 5 empty bar thrusters. I want you to really push the pace on this, right? Spike the heart rate. Get the heart rate spiked because it's gonna spike at some point. We're gonna bring it down through the warm up. So push the pace. Do 3 regular burpees, jump up, and then do 5 empty bar thrusters. Take a little break, set up your shuttle runs, wherever that is. Set up the shuttle run, and then we're gonna go into thrusters and shuttle runs. So do 3 total shuttle runs. So that's down, back, down, back, down, back, and then 3 thrusters, something at a moderate weight. Think whatever weight you use for Fran, that's the weight you want to use. So 95, 65, somewhere in there. Again, push the pace on that. Jack that heart rate up, get it spiked. We're about to bring it back down in between the next one. So 2 to 3 sets, 3 shuttle runs, 3 thrusters at that moderate weight. Think your Fran weight. Then 2 to 3 sets, 2 burpees, 2 shuttle runs, 1 thruster, and just kind of build each set on this. So this is a little bit slower. Now, when you're doing the sets, you should be pushing the pace, right? But take time to add a little weight. So from whatever your Fran weight is, add weight, do 1 thruster, add weight again, go through the round, add weight again, go through the round. Now, if you have the ability to practice your burpee pull-ups while doing this, great. And where we're going to be warming up for our Friday Night Lights, you won't have the ability to do the burpee pull-up during the set here, but maybe you're doing it on your own or something like that at the gym. You can just sub in burpee pull-ups there for if you want. So after you've done 2 to 3 sets of the thruster and you've kind of got your heart rate up, now we still want to stay warm, but we're going to kind of work into some heavier weights. I worked up to like 90% of what I wanted to hit. Right, that was my goal. So I worked up to 90%, hit that, felt confident, we're great, and I backed it back down to my starting weight. And then during that time in between these, I worked some burpee pull-ups. I want to figure out where my hands needed to be. I want to figure out where my hands needed to be. So that way I just kind of put my hands in the same spot every single time on that. So run through that warm up. I'll put it in the notes below so we can kind of check it out. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Okay, last little bit is strategy. Last week I broke it down into elite, kind of class fire breather, and then first timer. So the elite strategy is honestly exactly what those guys did in the show, the live broadcast. You got to push the run. If you think that you're going to be a semifinalist or a games athlete, you're doing those runs in about a minute every single time, right? We got to push the pace. That's a long part of the workout. It's multiple parts of the workout. So push the pace. You got to do it in a minute. I would suggest before you start the workout, do 10, figure out what the pace is you need to do in a minute. Maybe take a break and do another 10, right? Give yourself some time, some good warm-up time in there to figure out what the pace is you need to do. Have your judge that's judging you, right? If you're really trying to push the pace, say, hey, you're falling off that minute, right? If you have the fitness to be a semifinalist, to be in the games, that's not an issue. And then just like they did it in the burpees, their burpees almost never slowed down. Their burpee pull-ups were consistent. They jumped up to their pull-up and pulled themselves through, right? They really had a strong pull on there. So got to stay consistent on there, but really push the runs. Okay. If you consider yourself more of a class fire breather, that's kind of where I fit in, where I classify myself. It's similar, right? But my goal on the runs, and what I think our goals should be as a class fire breather, is we're trying to stay moving on those runs, right? A minute 15 is about the goal. If you want, tell your judge, like, hey, a minute 15, if you want to watch for me, just to make sure I stay on pace. But you can definitely feel that. So just stay moving, kind of hit that 115 range is about what I would suspect and about what I held the whole time. The thing on the burpee pull-up is that the burpee pull-up, and this goes for everybody, it taxes everything that the thruster is going to do, right? A thruster is a pull from the ground, right, with a jump into the clean and then a press or a hip extension, the press at the top. When a burpee pull-up, it's a press from the ground, a jump to the pull-up bar, and then a pull on the pull-up bar. So you're going to get a lot of taxing on that. So what I kind of started doing towards the end, I figured it out late, was when I would jump and have bent elbows and pull up. There's no standard that says that you have to start at a dead hang or from the hanging position in the pull-up, so you can jump straight into it just like they did. But you need to choose what works for you and the pace that works for you. For me and for the guys on the elite version, the burpee is let gravity take you down, almost like you're plopping down on the ground. Step up when you get your first foot up and then your back foot up, and then you're going to jump up, touch the pull-up bar or grab the pull-up bar. Just make sure that your feet are where they need to be. If you need to, not a bad idea, mark on the ground where your feet need to be standing, so that way when you jump, you don't have to look first, right? Just know that where your hands need to be, where your feet need to be, step up to that point every single time. I think that's a great little tool there to help you really stay moving on those burpee pull-ups. The goal is, though, stay moving on both of them. You just need to find your pace and stick with that pace. And then first timers. The runs need to be your rest, and you need to survive in the burpee pull-ups, right? If this is our first timers, the burpee pull-ups are going to be fatiguing, right? Like we're going to hit a point where maybe we can't do a pull-up. So if you're somebody who's still learning pull-ups, or we're trying to get our first pull-up, or like the jumping pull-up is going to be somewhat difficult, then you need to really pace that out, right? Step up, take a breath, jump, pull, right? Make sure it's a good hard jump. All right. That's really the main thing I can give the first timers on the burpee pull-ups. So set your feet up, jump hard, pull hard, right? Recover on the runs, but never walk, right? Get it in your brain that you're never going to walk. Stay strong on that. That's the biggest part of this workout, is staying out of your own head. That doesn't matter at any level. As soon as you start to kind of like waller in the monotony of the workout, then it's going to become more difficult, right? We can all shuttle shuffle, as Pat Vellner said. We can all stay moving on that. We can all plop on the ground, crawl up, jump, and do the pull up. It's just this workout's going to be based on your pace and your fitness level. So not much strategy, no magic tips this week. Just grind it out, find your pace, stay with it. Good luck. Let me know how you did in the comments.